so we are set to go. Scott Walker and Alexis Arguello. Scott Walker, Alexis Arguello, Arizona Charlies here in Las Vegas. We are getting ready for our bout between Alexis Arguello and Walker. There you see the difference in the experience of these two fighters, dramatically shown by those rounds. We'll take a look now at the young and inexperienced Scott Walker.
Scott Walker holds no illusions about his battle with Alexis Arguello. Walker says he's not a big puncher, but that he has enough power to survive. 11 of his 17 wins have come by knockout, including this one-round blitzing of Tom Jackson. You may not know much about this 25-year-old from Mesa, Arizona, but he hopes to surprise. To do that, he must tame Arguello.
He's Alexis Arguello, and he's on a new career. He's on his second fight back on his new career, and he's just another fight at this point right now. I definitely think it's a dangerous fight, and it could probably open a lot of doors for me, but he's just another guy.
There is Scott Walker coming into the ring. He heads in his last fight against Javier Valdez, an 8-rounder, a TKO. He won in a TKO. And this is a big opportunity for him, Dave.
He certainly has a chance to get rid of Arguello and maybe make some motion for himself.
All right, Alexis Arguello, a man who barely needs an introduction, but we'll give him one anyway. A young man, at 42, he hopes young. Let's take a look back at Alexis Arguello.
A boxing legend steps back into character tonight. Who can forget the impact of Alexis Arguello? The multiple champion showed his talent and his class to Ray Mancini. After his win, Arguello consoled Mancini and urged him to press on. Mancini did, of course, going on to win a world title. Arguello always displayed the vintage hand speed, subtle movement, and the ability to both wear and wait an opponent out. If you were building the perfect featherweight or junior lightweight 20 years ago, he would be it. Arguello held titles in both of those weight classes, then ruled the lightweight division for a while. Between 1974 and 1982, Alexis won 19 consecutive title bouts, including wins over Bubba Mashimi and then Andy Ganigan. The streak finally came to an end against Aaron Pryor. This explosive shootout was one of the best fights of the 1980s. The rematch, a loss, wasn't bad either. Now, Arguello is glad he's back.
I'm really sharp. I've been working with tough little kids, and Eddie is happy with my conditioning, and I'm happy with my condition, and we're going to show our capacity tonight.
That is Alexis Arguello again taking a walk into the ring. He's only done this 3 times in the last 10 years. This crowd here in the Arizona Charlies responding. He may be 42, but he's still a legend.
And a class act, always one of the big gentlemen in the sport of boxing. You didn't really see him at the forefront of too much controversy throughout the years. Always somebody who was able to rise above it in a sport where controversy is rampant. So Alexis, one of the premier gentlemen and class guys in the sport of boxing. And you see Arguello acknowledging the crowd in a different sense. We're ready.
Top Rank Incorporated, along with your undisputed, undefeated king of beers, Budweiser. This Buds for You present the featured bout of the evening. This contest is sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Chairman Dr. James Nave, Commissioners Nat Carasali, Luther Mack, Crispin Rivera, and Dr. Elias Ghanem, Executive Director Mark Ratner. Our physicians at ringside are Dr. Robert Voy and Dr. Charles Signorino. The timekeepers, James Cavan and Mike Lachella. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Arizona Charlie's Hotel Casino here in Las Vegas, Nevada, let's get ready to rumble! 10 rounds of boxing in the junior welterweight division. When the bell rings, the man in charge of the action, the referee, Richard Steele. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the pink and white, and weighing 141 pounds. From Mesa, Arizona, he brings a record of 17-3 with 1 draw, 11 of his 17 victories by KO. Introducing Scott, the Pink Cat, Walker. fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the red, blue, and black, weighing 142 pounds, from Managua, Nicaragua. His professional record, 80 victories, 64 KOs, only 7 defeats. Ladies and gentlemen, the former 3-time champion of the world, Alexis Arguello.
All right, I spoke to both fighters in the dressing room. I'm going to caution again to obey my commands at all times. Shake hands and good luck.
So that is Scott Walker. They call him the Pink Cat. And, let's go to the keys to victory.
And he will need those AutoZone keys to victory for Arguello. The body punching, use the experience. Walker wants to use the entire ring and hope Arguello looks his age, because if Arguello looks 32, Walker's in big trouble.
Those, of course, the AutoZone keys to victory. That is Alexis Arguello getting ready to do battle with Scott Walker. They call him the Pink Cat. Came into the music of the Pink Panther. And Peter Sellers would be proud if he were alive to be a fan of his.
He got that whole stick down track and also brought a suit to the weigh-in here. Looked very badly attired. And Arguello with the big knockout percentage. Walker not bad, 52%, and has the demeanor of a 52% knockout puncher. As he told us today, I've got enough power, but I'm not a big bang.
It is intriguing. Of course, Arguello has had a fight since he came back on this version of his comeback. And he won in a 10-round decision against Jorge Palomares, but broke his hand in the process, his left hand. He says it's all healed, and we'll see if at the age of 42, Alexis Arguello can pull the trigger.
If he's got any reflexes, he can win rounds in his sleep. Of course, we saw Roberto Duran last week look every bit of his 43 years.
Isn't that intriguing? Think about this. Arguello, and big hook. Arguello's hurt. Scott Walker has hurt Arguello with a hook. Does he have enough fortitude to go after him? And should he? That was interesting, James.
Arguello certainly not expecting that. The crowd looking at this as an Arguello showcase. And early on, they get served a reminder that Walker is here to fight.
Scott Walker made it clear to us today that he felt his youth and speed would win out, and he said he's a deceivingly good puncher. He and his dad Mac claimed that, despite the 11 KOs and 17 wins. He has not had a huge knockout record, though that's not a bad one. He's having his way right now with Arguello using his movement.
And he was pretty realistic, of course, about the decision in this fight. He doesn't want it to go to that if it's close. He feels the Arguello mystique will do him in. He would like to take that out of play early.
Arguello got a right hand in, and the crowd roared, as they will, with most of what he's doing. Arguello trying to cut the ring off.
Walker does bring his hands way down after he punches. Arguello will certainly look at that. When Walker brings his hands back, a good example of it there, he's not bringing them back up high.
Whenever Walker punches in combination, Arguello just goes back and freezes. They want Walker to move not so much to his left, which he's doing now, into the right hand, but more to his right, away from the right hand of Arguello.
And also to break up the movement, not be too predictable in how he does it. Not go corner to corner. Try to go laterally and keep himself in punching position. He wants to keep turning Arguello.
So round one coming to a close, and for Scott Walker, it has been a pretty good round against the legendary Alexis Arguello, but the 42-year-old legend. We'll be back.
Walker is not intimidated in the opening round by Arguello. Tremendous left hook there, one behind it. Drives Alexis Arguello back. Let's see about the legs of Arguello here in round two.
We're in round 2. This one is scheduled for 10. Al Bernstein and Dave Bontempo. Alexis Arguello not off to a stellar beginning in his first televised bout since his comeback.
And good numbers for Walker, tremendous percentage landed, good dominance. And I think it was very important for Walker. The first round was more important for Walker than it was for Arguello in this bout. Walker came out and demonstrated that he's going to be in this fight.
Arguello landing a couple of good shots.
Walker is moving here without punching. He doesn't want to do that. As he moves, he has to be throwing leather here, or Arguello will track him down. Arguello showed Walker a bit of a different look. He came inside a little more at the beginning of the round. Walker moved, but he has to keep the hands moving as well as his legs.
Scott Walker has done what he wanted to do so far here tonight. But then remember, in our first bout, Mark Brandon was doing this in the first couple rounds against Greg Haugen, and then he got caught.
He was just about jumping out of his shoes with enthusiasm. He brought it right to Haugen.
One thing Walker is doing, though, a little better than Brandon, is a lot of side-to-side and varying his movement, Dave.
You don't want to be always going to the left, always going to the right. Take half steps. Of course, Arguello has seen all this, but nonetheless, make Arguello use the entire ring.
And there was a moment that you should freeze in your mind. The right hand by Arguello that hit air as Walker was moving. I think the old Arguello might have landed that right hand.
And we will see if the modern-day Arguello cuts down the distance and lands that later in the fight, because it's there. He got Walker into a position where Walker was open. Now he needs to find the bomb.
One thing Arguello's doing very well is eluding the right hand of Walker. Walker's getting the jab as a rangefinder out there, but not able to get the right hand in that much. It's not a big ring here, and you have to believe that it's not a big ring because Arguello was in there. They didn't want this to be a huge ring.
A little home field edge.
Yeah, and they wanted an interesting fight. But Walker is using what ring there is and using it effectively. Half a minute left to go in round 2. Scheduled for 10, and yes, it's not a mirage. That is Alexis Arguello in the ring, folks. But is it really Alexis Arguello?
And Arguello has some abrasions, maybe a cut around his left eye that he'll have to contend with.
So Scott Walker has another good round here in round 2. Can it continue? We'll see. That is young Scott Walker, the 25-year-old from Mesa, Arizona, who has done himself proud in the first 2 rounds against Alexis Arguello, the 42-year-old legend, 3-time world champion. I don't need to introduce him to any of you who know boxing. He's been one of the greats in the game. Has come back after almost an 8-year inactivity. Had one fight, which he won in 10 rounds, and now is in there against Walker.
And obviously, the slow start for Arguello. He's down more than 2-1 as far as punches landed in the first 2 rounds of the fight. He's obviously starting slow, trying to land in a big right-hand bomb. He almost got it in round number 2. He'll have to go to the body and start coming forward a little more rapidly here in the 3rd.
And the Walker jab continues to get the job done for him, Dave.
You know, you take any guy who comes in here as an underdog, all of a sudden he starts getting on the bicycle, lands the jab, the confidence goes up, and he's a different fighter throughout the course of the bout, and Walker has gotten what he wanted out of the first 2 rounds of the fight.
We're in round 3. It is scheduled for 10. We're at Arizona Charlie's. Great location for a fight. This room is excellent. We're off the Strip a little ways. If you haven't been to Las Vegas, it's not very far from the Strip. Right now, the fans here being treated to an interesting battle. Oh, good left hook by Alexis Arguello. But right away, Walker doesn't stay in there. He moves.
And Arguello did not follow up, which is something we would have seen from him in his vintage days.
Arguello had a fight in August in Miami against Jorge Palomares, 1-10. Before that, his last fight was 1986 when he beat Billy Costello. And before that, it was 1985 in October against Pat Jefferson. And before that, he had not fought since 1983. So he's only had 3 fights in about a 10-year span.
Walker showing you something guys with reach can do. When he backs off a shot, he rolls his left shoulder and almost tries to lure Arguello into a right hand, hoping Arguello throws it so that he can snap back with a left hook of his own in return.
Kind of a wild left hook there by Arguello. We got less than a minute left to go in round 3. Scott Walker is being an elusive target. In between rounds, we're going to talk to another guy who is an elusive target, Jake the Snake Rodriguez, the IBF Junior Welterweight Champion, who's going to be fighting on January 28th on a pay-per-view card. He might be the most elusive guy in this division to him. In fact, he's right next to us, and I can barely find him.
He's certainly a very good body puncher as well, Jake Rodriguez.
Good right hand by Alexis Arguello. And as round 3 winds to a conclusion, Alexis is going to have to find something.
He almost did right there. A nice left hook. And he's getting closer with his range now.
So round 3 is in the history books. Alexis Arguello heads back to his corner. And at ringside here, we visit with Jake the Snake Rodriguez, the man that I alluded to, a gentleman who is the IBF Junior Welterweight Champion. You're going to be defending against Constantine II on January 28th. What do you know about him, Jake?
So far, I've seen him fight when he fought Randall and, not Randall, the other guy, the Jamaican guy. And then he fought Lopez from Mexico. And I've seen it, he comes in and he throws a lot of punches. He stays busy. He's always in great shape. But all the fights I had for the championship, they're all the same. Everybody comes in great shape, in top shape of the world. So that's what I'm going to be doing.
Jake, you had a big year, 20-1 underdog against Charles Murray. You won the title, then you rolled from there. What was the key to your big year in 1994?
It's to stay busy in all the fights. I always stay inside, throw a lot of punches, make him miss a lot, and then this is me win the fight.
All right, what do you think of Alexis Arguello so far in what you've seen?
He started a little slow, but I know he's taking his time because he's got a trained right hand. This kid's taking a lot of right hand. When he throws his right hand, most of the time he's taking punish with that right hand. And unless he's very strong with that right hand, if he comes back with the hook, he probably knock him out. But
All right. There's a look at our punch numbers, and we can see that Walker had a pretty good round 3 as well.
Arguello started to pick up his pace a little bit there, too.
All right, Jake, we appreciate you being with us. Good luck against Constantine II. That should be an excellent battle.
Thank you.
January 28th on pay-per-view. Davey and I will be there, so we'll be watching you. All right. We go back to this bout, where they are wrestling and grappling here in round 4.
And Walker trying to push off and establish the middle of the ring there for himself before he moved on. Going to watch the right hand of Arguello in this fight. He's gotten closer, but the key to it is, what is that jab of Walker doing? That's a big key to this fight right now. And he's using it. Arguello has not been able to answer.
Round 4, halfway through the round. It is scheduled for 10. Alexis Arguello in the multicolored trunks in the pink. It's Scott Walker. Walker, the 25-year-old from Mesa, Arizona, with a record of 17-3-1, 11 KOs. This is the chance of a lifetime for him. And Alexis Arguello, 80 wins, 7 losses, 64 KOs.
Part of the few fighters now, you see those big wins. Of course, Chavez, Duran. A like that we'll never see again.
It's true, because fighters really don't box as often, and maybe that's just as well.
Right, and the money coming in there to make them not want to fight as often. So you see these 80 wins and 90 wins. It's astonishing now.
Only 2 fighters over the age of 40 have won title bouts. George Foreman is one, and Bob Fitzsimmons at the age of 40 is another. And that was a long time ago. Archie Moore was unsuccessful twice at the age of 42 and 41, and Larry Holmes couldn't get it done at 42, but he has another chance against Oliver McCall.
George Foreman tried a couple times in the post-40 era as well.
Good left hook by Alexis Arguello. For the first time in his fight, he may have really gotten the attention of Scott Walker.
He's got Walker backing up now.
So could this fight be turning on the power of Alexis Arguello? He certainly had a better fourth round. There's no question about that. We will be back for more here on Top Rank Boxing. Don't go away.
Don't hold him.
There is Scott Walker as he comes out for round 5 with Alexis Arguello, and they told him in no uncertain terms, you're winning this fight boxing, and his dad said, do not slug with him.
And they better get him to get that left hand going in overdrive through the 4th round. Walker with a sizable edge. In the first 2 rounds, he built most of that up. Arguello is coming on him now in the last 2 rounds. But for Walker, the key is to always have that jab, and otherwise, you're going to see this.
They don't want Walker on the ropes, that's for sure. Taking some shots from Arguello. Scott is smiling a bit. What does your scorecard tell us, Dave?
Well, I am going against the common grain. I gave Arguello the last 2 rounds to make this an even bout. Very narrowly in round 4. He's getting inside more and getting his point across.
Arguello landing some big shots here in this round. The movement of Walker is less, isn't it?
And not as pronounced, and now he's pity-patting with his shots to keep his balance, not really setting down on them.
Wow, is he ever? They're swelling under the left eye of Scott Walker.
Arguello is looking for a place to plant a big shot. And when you look at Walker opening up like that, the uppercut is there for Arguello. All kinds of shots are there for Arguello.
Walker showing a lot more movement now and less punching. And you're right, all arm punches by Scott Walker. He is really not putting much into those shots.
And I'm a little surprised at this juncture Arguello is not taking a little more advantage of what Walker is doing here. His hands seem to be coming a little slower, too.
Right.
A little over a minute left to go here in round 5. 42-year-old Alexis Arguello. Third man in the ring is Richard Steele, and Scott Walker, the 25-year-old from Mesa, Arizona.
Arguello is trying to mug him right now, make this a street brawl.
Walker moving. One thing you have to say, the punches of Arguello much wider than they used to be.
Much wider, not as much on them either, because this was a perfect opportunity this round for him to land
big
right
shots by Walker. That one, actually, I think, momentarily stunned Arguello, but Walker's putting nothing on those punches. Nothing. Not even any turning of the body. If he were, he might be getting something done here.
I think he's simply trying to keep the hands busy to keep Arguello off it. He's thinking defense with his offense.
He had Arguello very vulnerable there. Well, round 5 goes in the books. Maybe the best one yet for Alexis Arguello. We'll see what happens in round 6.
The Alexis Arguello right hand is getting closer and closer. There it landed high, just a little bit short of being a big shot. We'll see if he gets some in.
We are heading into round 6 now. This is scheduled for 10. Alexis Arguello in the white, blue, red, black trunks. I think I got them all in there, didn't I?
Every possible combination, and you know what? Forget the numbers as far as this fight for Arguello is concerned. He needs the power shots, which will decide it. He landed 2 right hands for the first time in this fight at the beginning of this round.
He is now landing with Walker's hands at his side. There's your scorecard.
Arguello has crept back into this. It's his to take if he wants over the next 5 rounds. He must be ruthless with his right hand. Forget the technique in a sense. Go for the big right hand.
Right.
Walker has been uncanny in both making this a fight and doing enough to disturb Arguello. Has he done enough scoring in the last couple of rounds?
Walker is moving more, there's no question about it. And not punching quite as much. Now, you saw the punch numbers, and in fact, even in the last round, and after all, the numbers are the numbers. Those pity-pat punches all count because they were landed. What you think of them, I guess you're left to decide, and so are the judges. But no question, Walker is landing more.
moving the body a little more. Now Walker is not moving as effectively, and Arguello has cut the ring off better in the last couple of rounds, and now he's finding some range.
Well, Scott Walker, in his last fight, went TKO over Javier Valdez. He's on a 4-fight win streak, but certainly, even though he's older, Arguello still has probably more power than anybody Scott Walker has faced.
And a couple left hooks got Walker's attention in that regard. And yet for Arguello, we're seeing the right hands getting in. And sometimes they look like they're in slow motion. They take a little longer to get there, not as crisp, a little bit wider, and he's not getting all the power he would like.
Nice double left hook by Walker, his best of the fight. They are going to create a real interesting situation for the judges if it keeps going this way.
Something we talked with about Walker early this morning, and the styles contrast. What do you like? You like the movement, the regeneralship here of Walker, or do you like Arguello trying to hunt him down?
History. Scott Walker goes back to contemplate what he might do. And we show you a gentleman here at ringside, Freddie Liberatore, who is a young man fighting against one of the Ruelas brothers, Gabe Ruelas, for the Junior Lightweight Championship.
I don't know.
Freddie, congratulations on getting a title shot, and this is a match that you have looked forward to.
It is the match, that I've been fighting for all my life, and it finally came true. I paid my dues, and it paid off.
Freddie, we saw you against Calvin Grove, a good inside fight, both guys right in front of each other. If it's different, if you find a taller guy here, what will you do in this fight?
Well, Gabriel isn't as tall as Calvin Grove, so and I really never had any problem with tall fighter, because I usually work the body and then work up.
So you think he'll be right in front of you and it could be a replay?
Yeah, well, Gabriel's a tough guy and comes to fight, so I think we can see a good fight come Saturday.
All right, Freddie, we appreciate you joining us, and good luck to you. You're a guy who's worked hard at your craft, and we're happy to get a shot.
Thank you.
Okay. Freddie has provided us with many, many exciting moments here on Top Rank Boxing, and a lot of good matches, and we'll look forward to seeing him in his championship match on January 28th in that pay-per-view fight. The plot thickens, does it not?
Dilemma, dilemma, dilemma. Who do you like? What kind of power? I think the power of Arguello was the deciding factor in that last round, but you just know with those numbers, it's probably a split round on the cards.
We're into round 7. Scott Walker and Alexis Arguello. Arguello making a comeback. He was off of the ring from 1986 to this past year. He's had one fight, broke his left hand against Jorge Palomares. That left hand seems to be working okay for Alexis.
He's had no problem getting his hook in, as he'll do a little tape work in the corner here of Arguello. He'll get some time here as well. From a contrasting style standpoint, this has been interesting. Walker on the outside, and Arguello fighting in spurts on the inside to try to get near him.
So the action resumes. Alexis told us today that the reason he decided to come back, he felt, well, obviously money was a big reason. The reason he felt he could come back was that he was training with kids in Nicaragua, and everybody said, you can still fight. And he took them at their word, and he's been back in the ring now.
Well, one reason you see many over 40 fighters get in there, and even if they flop, no matter what, they can still beat 70% of the fighters out there, even if their skills have eroded dramatically.
That's a very good point. We saw that. We can see that in Larry Holmes, who deals with most of the heavyweights with his skills, which are still considerable. Walker lands the left hand. He is starting to get to Arguello a little bit in this round.
And he took an Arguello shot and kept coming. That could be something else to freeze in your frame if it keeps working this way. Arguello had been driving it back. Arguello landed a good shot there. Walker kept coming.
You know what else Scott Walker is doing now, Dave? He's manhandling Arguello, pushing him a little bit, making him move certain ways.
He wants Arguello to pay every price that he can to get inside. Make sure there's no cheap route to the inside for Alexis Arguello. Walker has certainly emerged in a big way tonight. Somebody who's totally unheralded. He has shown some good skills here.
And as we look at Scott Walker, I guess the one thing you look at with under a minute left to go in the 7th round is if he could just find a way to get a little more leverage on his punches.
He's choosing to take the defensive route and punch from the outside, and that is why he's not getting his leverage. He's pretty much sometimes backpedaling as he's deciding to punch.
See, but there, the left hooks to the body, he does get the leverage on. Now he's doing a little showboating.
And the low left hand to try to show Arguello a big target.
Well, he paid the price. He put his head down to showboat and got hit with the left hand by Arguello. Round 7, though, not a bad round for Scott Walker. Scott Walker, in the most important night of his boxing career against Alexis Arguello, comes out for round 8, is scheduled for 10. He takes a left hook from Arguello. And if you're joining us late, Alexis Arguello has been pursuing Walker most of this fight, and that has been the story in most of these rounds.
Walker getting to the outside, doing well. You wonder if at all Arguello in his camp regret a little bit facing in his first fight back a mover, somebody with good range who can stay on the outside and make his life pretty difficult.
Well, Dave, let's look at your score. You've got it very close still, don't you?
Still Walker, in some cases, unable to really pull ahead in this fight.
Now, despite the numbers difference for Walker, is part of that because some of those punches are so pity-patty of Walker?
Arguello has landed some good shots and out-muscled Walker at times during this fight.
So this is one of those rare times that I would slightly disagree with you. I would have Walker ahead by a point or two more.
Well, go figure.
But we so rarely disagree, it's hardly worth mentioning. I'm sure it will be close fight on the judges' scorecards. We're still friends, though, aren't we?
I guess.
Al Bernstein with my friend, I think, Dave Bontempo, here at Arizona Charlie's in Las Vegas, where we've seen Alexis Arguello pursue the boxing Scott Walker. This is a pretty good round for Walker, though. He's been landing a lot of shots.
On the outside again and making Arguello lunge to get to him. And the confidence of Walker turning into his shots as he gets Arguello coming ahead in a straight line.
Arguello landed a good left hook a moment or two ago, but Walker has been able to feint and then land punches off the feint, and that's what his dad, Mac Walker, and Chuck McGregor, his trainers, suggested for him in the corner.
And despite a lowly held left hand in this fight, Walker continues to utilize his reach very well.
Good body shot a moment ago by Walker. This has been a good round for Scott Walker. This is one in which he's done more than he did in the last 3 or 4 rounds. And could it be that the 42-year-old Alexis Arguello is getting tired?
And he's not getting an easy route to Walker either. He would have preferred perhaps somebody straight ahead, right in front of him, where he can work some angles and do some tricks. But here, tracking down a younger fighter who is obviously very much on the mark tonight has been hard.
Nice combination by Walker. The second one gets in. And you make a good point. Maybe for the second trip back, Arguello would like someone who's going to be standing in front of him, but it doesn't always work out that way in boxing. Scott Walker punctuates what for him has been a very good 8th round. Time's running out. Big Monday here on ESPN. This is Super Saturday. How about that? I just named it. I'm Al Bernstein along with Dave Bontempo. Scott Walker is in the pink trunks, a 25-year-old from Mesa, Arizona, a youngster against the legendary Alexis Arguello. We are headed down the stretch here in these last 2 rounds, and I think Alexis Arguello feels some sense of urgency.
And the crowd is trying to cheer him on and bring something out of him here, as Walker with a dynamic edge in the numbers as they go up. But the number thrown, very impressive there for Walker, too. When do you see Alexis Arguello outthrown by nearly 200 punches? Pity-pat though they may be at times, they've been effective at neutralizing Arguello and making him load up.
And while Walker has moved, you can't say he's run. There have been rounds where he ran a little bit, where he was maybe stunned. But basically, I mean, it's been effective movement. And after all, nobody says you can't cut off the ring.
And Arguello sometimes has done that in the fight, and sometimes he has followed. Arguello wanted to be moving a step to his right more. And what Walker does here, he confuses Arguello. Even though Arguello, of course, is the veteran, Walker's outside. He charges inside, lands a couple, gets out, then ties Arguello up. And there's something different every second coming from Walker.
Walker with the right hand, he's slapping with the punch. Had that been a real hard punch, could have made a difference. Arguello very tired here in these later rounds.
And also, no explosion out of the right hand. Maybe the best right hand Alexis Arguello threw in this fight was one in which he missed last round. It had all the snap. It was a would-be bomb, but it didn't quite get there. His right hands have been taking longer to get there.
I wonder if Scott Walker at this juncture of the fight will try and set down on his punches more, feeling that Arguello is tired. I guess that could be dangerous, but I don't know that it would be. And it might be his only chance to make sure he cements a victory here.
Well, it's so instinctive, too, because the corner is certainly going to tell him he's way ahead, and he is certainly winning this fight. Now, does he do what's been working for him for the entire fight, which is what he should do? Or does he get bolder and braver and give Arguello one shot to steal it?
Arguello is so inactive. That's why I would have a hard time giving this fight to Alexis Arguello. He's landed maybe the harder punches, I'm sure, but he has been so inactive.
Well, he has faded in the last couple of rounds. Pretty much the first 6 rounds, he really made this a fight, stuck in there. But you really, in the late rounds of the fight, as Duran did against Pazienza last week, that's when the fighter shows his age the most.
Half a minute left to go in round 9. There's one more left. And young Scott Walker certainly strategically has made the fight that he wanted here against Alexis Arguello. Whether he will get the nod is another question. And for Arguello, he is left to wonder whether he has been impressive enough to tell the boxing moguls that he's back. My answer would be probably not. We'll be back for round 10. Stay with us. That is Alexis Arguello headed into the 10th and final round.
And Walker having his way in round 9 as well. Good jab, the angle, and driving Arguello back. Arguello simply reacting at this point.
That is young Scott Walker, the 25-year-old from Mesa, Arizona. And there's Alexis Arguello, a battered ex-champion. You can see some of the swelling around the eye, some abrasions. We head into the last round. And Alexis showing you that he thinks he needs to make something happen here.
I certainly think he does in the last 3 rounds. He has not done a whole lot, and Walker with more than 100 to his advantage landed.
Walker landing some right hand, even a little bit of the old dipsy-do there, bolo punch.
As we get a little bit of a break here, take a look at the card, and Walker has moved down to a comfortable edge. Arguello would certainly need magic here in round 10. And who knows, even if he got it, would he still want to fight after what he's had to go through to get to this point?
You know what is more remarkable? Look at the hair of Scott Walker. It's perfect. It's perfect. He's what, 10 rounds, and he looks better than we do on camera after just half a show.
And he also showed up at the weigh-in in a suit. So there's a guy that basically, he could have fought in his suit. Nothing would have been wrong with him.
GQ, are you watching? Good right hand by Scott Walker. We're focusing on the important things here in this 10th round.
You never know when it might break a tie.
Arguello going to the body, Walker holding on. And that's a good strategy by Walker, though.
Hey, if you think you have the edge and point, don't let the other guy win it automatically, and Arguello is trying to steal it now.
Good left hand by Walker. Arguello working the body, which is something I'm sure he wanted to do more in this bout. We're in round 10. If you joined us late, it's been Arguello chasing Walker. Walker boxing expertly. Walker has a little over 100 punch edge on our punch profile.
Walker getting brave, and he's brave.
Big right hand by Arguello. Let's see if he can make Walker pay here in round 10. You can see fatigue. Is Walker hurt? A point taken away for something by Richard Steele. For holding, I guess. Well, that helped Scott Walker. Give him a rest. That was fascinating to me. Did you see that much holding?
Now, and plus there has to be warnings throughout the fight.
That's fascinating.
You don't just take a point away basically on a whim.
Unless Richard Steele warned them, we didn't see that.
Well,
could have a big impact on the scoring. I'm really at a loss there.
Well, if you give Arguello a 2-point round in the 10th, it does get interesting.
And this round has been close, but Arguello has come on here in the last minute, so probably Arguello's winning it. So now this becomes a 2-point round for Alexis Arguello. I have to tell you, I did not see that much holding.
No, that certainly is not something worthy of taking a point away.
He did hold, make no mistake about it, a little in the last round, but you still have to wonder how much there was.
And there have to be warnings before that. You just can't all of a sudden deduct the point.
Well, a big 10th round for Alexis Arguello. Will it be enough along with the point deducted? So round 10 is just about over. When we come back, we're going to find out who won this battle. Michael Buffer, and find out if he won or lost.
Ladies and gentlemen, here at Arizona Charlie's, we go to the scorecards. Referee Richard Steele did deduct 1 point from Scott Walker for failing to obey commands and continuous holding. Chuck Jappa scores the bout 95-94. Jerry Roth scores it 95-94. And Paul Smith has it 98-91 for the winner by unanimous decision, Scott the Pink Pat Walker.
How'd you get this win tonight, Scott?
I followed my game plan through the whole fight. Well, almost. I made a few mistakes in there, but there's one tough guy right there, man.
Okay, congratulations, Scott, on the victory. We're running short on time. Take it back now to Al Bernstein.
All right, we will see you next week for Dave Bontempo. I'm Al Bernstein. That young man gets a big win, derails Alexis Arguello. We'll see you on February 3rd.